Welcome to the place where we gain knowledge through the lens of creativity. I am Aaron Dworkin, and this is Artful Science. Thanks again for joining me here on Artful Science. Today's show is Esports, the dominant emerging college athletics program. And my guest is Andrew Peterson, coordinator of Instructional Technology, where he leads the esports programs themselves. Andrew, welcome to the show.
Thank you. A lot of fun to be here. Looking forward to the conversation.
Yes, absolutely. And I, of course, have to share that, this is certainly one of my passions. And both of my sons have been active, not just gamers, but getting into esports. And I've really had just an interest in it for many, many years, and was, kind of amazed by the rise, it seems, meteoric rise of esports. But to get, so that we make sure the audience understands what we're talking about, and is there a differential, what exactly is esports?
So it's actually pretty simple. It's the organization and competitive play of video games. So you can think of like basketball. Normal gaming would be like going to the gym and, a couple pickup games, nothing real organized. Whereas esports it's adding in that coach, it's adding in that practice, the schedules, the leagues, it's all the structure and organization around that play.
Gotcha. And so when there are people, right, who like to be naysayers about gaming, and they're like, well, this is just, kind of gaming, it's fun, there isn't kind of purposeful. Is there, what makes esports different than, say, this is just someone hanging out gaming? Is there a difference? And if so, what is that?
So it's that purpose and that competitiveness. So like I was saying, the nature of play, you can play, I could have Bejeweled Blitz sitting up over here on this screen, and it is just kind of a casual, mindless pastime. You can take that to the next level and go, okay, I want to compete against others. I want to do this in a structured, organized fashion. I want there to kind of be that dedicated team to it, and that's where kind of esports really gets its definition, its meaning. That it's more than just casual play. There's purpose to it. There's drive to win.
Gotcha. And so, in some ways, is that almost like I could look and say, oh, are there, some of us are going to go, down the corner and shoot a little basketball, versus someone who's actually training to be an NBA player. The level, even the way they play the game or even approach it, is going to be different than how we just go and play. Is it kind of a similar?
It is. It doesn't even have to be like NBA. Like this could be like 8th grade middle school basketball. Like there's 4 plays that and you have the one person that's supposed to stand up here and one person that's supposed to stand up here. And you might not be that good at it, but at least there's that intent, that there's some organization, that there's some do play number 3, and we're on defense now. And there's some organization to it rather than just the casual kind of mindless play.
Gotcha. Absolutely. And so, a lot of people think, okay, all right, so it's kind of people are seriously gaming, but when you say kind of esports, right, people are like, wait, so is there a business or anything? Could you kind of share with us, is there an esports industry? And if so, what is that? What does it look like? How is it structured?
So a lot of the industry just mirrors event management. It is, if you said, is there an industry behind basketball? Well, yeah, there's coaches and trainers and physicians and venues. And if you want, there's a really good graphic. If you want to go ahead and share that. Yeah. I think this is a really good all-encompassing, because it really is just kind of the nature of esports. It's not just the person sitting there clicking the mouse. That's kind of like the athlete in the middle of it, but it's the person that makes sure that they show up on time. It's the person that makes sure that their marketing brochures look nice. It's the person that makes sure that their IT network is secure. And this is just a really great example. kind of emerged from University of California, Irvine, and some work they were doing out there about like, what is esports?
Gotcha.
And they had that, and I think this is on its like third or fourth iteration now of adding the details and kind of
Right.
bringing in
So,
all the different professions.
so this is right. So that's pretty extraordinary. And so as we look at the breadth of this, is there an economic sense? Is there a fair amount of money in this? How does that, what does that look like?
You almost always see that in like the big news that enters into the mainstream. It'll be like, 16-year-old wins $1 million playing Fortnite or something like that. And you go, anytime you have people's attention, there's revenue involved. There was just a streamer, I believe last week, that had over like 2 million views on Twitch. Or he broke all the records for the simultaneous viewers. And you're like, that's a good show. Like if that was a major network show, that's not bad ratings. So that's money.
Gotcha. So
there.
this is really pretty wild. And I hear some of these tournaments have like incredible viewerships that it sounds like rivals even some regular sports.
I believe it was, I forget the company that was doing it, but it was in China. They were spending just about $1 billion building a new esports arena.
Wow.
It was like $987 million or something like that. And you're like, that's going to be a nice facility. And so they're building the infrastructure in kind of Southeast Asia. The whole culture behind it has taken off. It's really been there for the last, honestly, 15, 20 years, but we've just kind of gone like, hey, that's a thing.
Gotcha.
And caught on to it.
So this is amazing. So clearly, literally billions of dollars going into it. You hear about that, different teams have their esports team as part of that, or those types of things. So it sounds like colleges and universities, of course, are getting into the game. Why? What's the goal? Why would colleges or universities get into this and have esports programs?
So a lot of it is just student engagement. That's kind of one of those, anytime you talk about like student retention or student success, there's always some talk in there about student engagement. And what they found with esports is there's this whole demographic of students that don't identify with traditional sports. And so they're not, Team Ferris. They've never been to a football game. They've never been to a hockey game. They've never been to a basketball game. You'd say Ferris and they're like, oh yeah, that's the school that I go to. Now, when we give them an esports venue, they're like, oh, that's the game I play. And they're playing it. Oh, and they've got meetings and let's go play. And I'll be on the casual side and I got a team to root for. And now they belong to Ferris. They identify with the people there. They've made these social connections, and it kind of provides that grit for them to maybe succeed, maybe try a little bit harder to succeed. And it kind of gives them that place of that they can identify with.
Right. Awesome. And I've even heard that there are some colleges and universities, this is so important to them that they're even considering various scholarship programs for esports and things like that. Is that actually something that's coming to pass?
That's almost the standard now. Because it's anytime you think of any existing sport, your football, basketball, hockey, kind of whatever, there's scholarships. Why do they do that? The exact same justification exists for esports. You're bringing in students, you're bringing in the advertising, I guess, for the university. You're kind of on this platform,
right?
So when people think esports, what one takeaway I guess I would give them from this conversation, just think normal sports. That's really it. There are so many parallels that it's easier to go, where is it different, than to try and just list all the similarities.
Gotcha. And so what about the naysayers out there, right? People who are like, we shouldn't encourage gaming. Gaming is bad for you, right? That kind of thing. What would you say to those people?
Any extreme is bad. If you are an extreme football player and all you do is watch film and lift weights, that's bad. That's just bad. Same thing with games. If all you do is play games, that's not really that healthy. you probably should diversify your time a little bit into something else. And so any extreme is bad. And I would echo the same thing. I have seen some students that just play, and you go, that's not good. You're gonna fail. You have classes. You're a student first, and you kind of sit them down and you have that serious conversation with them, and either they listen or they don't come back to the university. It's unfortunate, but that's kind of the nature of people.
Gotcha. So as we look down, say 10 years down the road, where do you see esports in kind of the ecosystem of college environments? Where do you think esports will be, and or in just our society overall in like 10 years?
So I think it's going to really emulate the traditional sports model. If anything, if you look at Twitch and you look at the numbers of people watching this and the demographics that they're coming up with, the viewership for traditional sports is aging out. It's your demographics for your NFL, NHL, baseball, any of the kind of the major sports. They're not being replaced by a younger generation. All of those eyeballs are going over to Twitch and esports. And so you kind of, if you just play kind of the money game and the demographics game, you go, it's kind of still on that upward swing. It's got a solid 15 years of upswing till it levels off. And there's just a lot of opportunities right now to kind of get in there and help develop that industry.
Gotcha. Well, unfortunately, we are just about out of time, but I always like to ask my guests, since we operate, at this intersection between the arts and sciences and looking at science from an arts perspective, do you have any arts practice that you do yourself or that you appreciate?
Oh, it's always music. And I see that so much from gamers and players. There seems to be this artistic outlet into kind of the arts and the music side of it, and a little bit of that's probably from the game design side, because you see kind of that environmental artist, the music artists. So that would be my I guess my outlet.
Awesome. So any favorite bands or genre of music?
Oh, I'd be criminal if I didn't say They Might Be Giants and Weird Al. That's the silly, that's the nerdy, that describes me in a nutshell, and there's never a time that doesn't put a smile on my face.
Awesome. Well, Andrew Peterson, thank you for helping us gain knowledge through the lens of creativity here on Artful Science.
Thank you very much.